I should probably start with the house, because nobody believes me about the house until they see it. It's on a quiet stretch off Further Lane in East Hampton, gray cedar shingles gone silver from salt air, hydrangeas the size of beach balls lining the front walk, and a wraparound porch where you can hear the ocean before you can see it. It belonged to my husband's grandmother, Eleanor, who left it to Mason when she passed 6 years ago. The place was a disaster back then. Water damage in the sunroom, knob and tube wiring older than my parents, a kitchen that hadn't been touched since 1986. Mason spent 2 years and basically every spare dollar he had rebuilding it room by room, mostly with his own hands, because that's who he is. He's a contractor. He smells like sawdust even on his days off. He gave me the keys on our first anniversary with a bow taped to the front door, and I cried so hard I got the hiccups. So when people hear Seaside Villa, they picture something we bought with a trust fund. We didn't. We earned every board of it, mostly Mason, and I've never once taken that for granted. My family, though, my family has a different relationship with the house than I do. My mom passed when I was 23, and her older sister, my Aunt Amelia, sort of absorbed the job of being in charge of me after that, whether I wanted her to or not. Amelia is the kind of woman who rearranges your kitchen cabinets while you're in the bathroom and calls it helping. She raised my cousin Aurora the same way she raised her opinions, loudly and with total confidence that she was right. Aurora's 26 now, has 80-something thousand followers doing soft life content, and has never in her life paid for her own brunch. The week before Memorial Day, I texted the family group chat that Mason and I were planning to drive out Friday and open the house for the season. First trip of the year. Normal stuff. Within an hour, Amelia called me instead of texting, which with her always means something's already been decided. Oh, perfect timing, she said. Gary and I and Aurora actually got there this morning. We're borrowing the house for the month just to get some sun before her show season starts. Aurora does some kind of seasonal influencer travel package thing. I genuinely don't fully understand it. I remember standing in my kitchen in Manhattan holding a colander of strawberries, completely frozen. Wait, you're already there? Like in the house? We let ourselves in with the old code, the one your mother-in-law gave us years ago for Thanksgiving. Don't worry, we're being so careful with everything. I told her Mason and I had actual plans to be there that weekend, that we'd had it on the calendar for a month. And she said it, just like that, breezy as anything. You can stay in town, sweetheart. Young people adjust. Young people adjust. I'm 31. I have a mortgage on an apartment and a husband who built that house with his own hands, and my 63-year-old aunt told me to go find a motel in Montauk so she could keep using it like a timeshare she never paid into. I didn't fight her. I want to be honest about that part because I'm not proud of it. I've spent my whole life being the one who adjusts in that family, the one who doesn't make the holiday weird, who laughs off the comment about her weight, who says it's fine so many times it's basically my Sunday name. So I said something like, oh, okay, well have fun, and hung up and stood there in my kitchen with strawberry juice running down my wrist like I'd been the one who got hurt, which, weirdly, I had. That night Aurora posted a carousel, 8 pictures, her on the deck at golden hour holding a glass of rosé she definitely didn't buy, her in the outdoor shower with her hair wrapped in a towel, doing the laughing at nothing pose, a sunset shot through the kitchen window that Mason picked out himself at a tile shop in Riverhead. Caption, living my dream home, so grateful. 240 comments within an hour, a bunch of them asking where it was, one asking if she did real estate now. I liked the post. I want you to sit with that for a second the way I had to. I opened the app, saw my cousin standing in my husband's kitchen calling it her dream home, and I tapped the little heart with my thumb like a reflex, the same way you flinch when something flies at your face. Then I put my phone down and made dinner and didn't say a single thing to Mason about any of it until he got home from a job site in Queens, tired plaster dust in his eyebrows. He noticed something was off before I'd even finished setting the table. He's like that. He just looked at me and said, "What happened?" So I told him, all of it, the borrowing, the young people adjust line, the post. I watched his face while I talked and it didn't really change, which honestly worried me more than if he'd gotten loud. Mason doesn't yell. His dad used to, and he decided a long time ago he wasn't going to be that, so when something actually gets to him, he goes quiet and very, very precise. He asked me 3 questions. Were they staying overnight, or just visiting for the day? Did Amelia say how she got in, the actual code? 3 questions. Were they staying overnight, or just visiting for the day? Did Amelia say how she got in, the actual code, or something else? And had anyone called the cleaning service or told them the house would be occupied? I said I didn't know about the cleaning service, and that's when something behind his eyes clicked into place, though I didn't understand what yet. He didn't say much else. He kissed the top of my head, told me not to text Amelia back that night, and said, "Let me take care of the morning. You don't need to do anything." And because I was tired and a little raw, and I trust him more than I trust almost anyone, I let it go. I didn't ask what take care of it meant. I went to sleep. Here's what I found out later, piece by piece, mostly from Mr. Sullivan himself, who's been the caretaker out there since before Mason was born. He mowed Eleanor's lawn as a teenager and never really left. The old code Amelia used was one Eleanor had given out years and years ago, during a totally different chapter of that house before the renovation, before the new security system Mason installed himself the year he rebuilt the place. It wasn't supposed to still work. It worked because nobody had ever bothered cleaning out the old guest list, because nobody ever imagined someone would let themselves into a house they didn't own and call it borrowing. So at 6:40 the next morning, before I was even awake, Mason called Mr. Sullivan. One call. That's genuinely it. He asked him to do two things: pull every old access code off the system and reissue fresh ones, and personally swing by the house with the paperwork that's been sitting in a folder in our filing cabinet for 2 years, the insurance policy, the deed, and the little laminated card the alarm company requires for anyone listed as an authorized overnight guest, which is a list that, as of that morning, had exactly 2 names on it, mine and his. Sullivan's 71 years old, drives a Ford pickup older than I am, and has the kind of calm you can't fake. He didn't bang on the door or make a scene. He knocked once, waited, and when Gary answered in his bathrobe, Sullivan just said good morning and explained, very politely, that the system had flagged unregistered overnight guests, that liability on the property required everyone present to be on file, and that since nobody currently inside the house was on that file, he'd need them to gather their things by early afternoon. Amelia apparently came down the stairs mid-explanation and tried the old code right in front of him 3 times, getting redder each time it didn't work. Sullivan, who I am told did not even raise his voice once, told her the access had been updated overnight per the homeowner's instructions, and that any other questions would need to go through Mason directly. I wasn't there. I only know this because Mason told me that evening, and because Amelia called me at 11 a.m. so furious she could barely get full sentences out. "Your husband had us thrown out like criminals," she said. "We're family, Mia. He's not even blood." And I remember sitting on my own couch, in my own apartment, finally saying the thing I should have said years ago. He's not blood. He's the one who actually owns the house. You let yourself in with a 10-year-old code and told me to go stay in a motel in my own husband's home. That's not family being family. That's just family taking. She didn't have a response to that. Or she did, but it was mostly just volume, and I let her have it, and then I hung up. Aurora's post came down within the hour. No caption, no explanation, just gone, the way things vanish on the internet when the math behind them stops working out. We drove out that Friday like we'd planned the whole time. The house was spotless, smelled like Sullivan's wife's lemon cleaner, the old code list wiped clean, and a brand new set of fobs sitting on the kitchen island with a sticky note that said, "Welcome home, Joe." We sat on the porch that night with 2 beers and didn't talk about any of it for a long while, just listened to the water. It took about 3 weeks for Amelia to text again, and when she did, it wasn't an apology exactly, more like a peace offering disguised as small talk, asking how the garden was doing this year. I answered her. I didn't bring up the door code. Some things don't need a victory lap, they just need a new boundary, drawn once and meant. Being family doesn't come with a deed, and being agreeable for the sake of peace isn't the same thing as keeping the peace, it just postpones the bill. I spent years thinking my job was to make things smooth for everyone else, and what that actually taught the people around me was that my yes didn't cost them anything. It took watching Mason make one quiet, unemotional phone call to understand that a boundary doesn't have to be loud to be real.